Good morning, good morning. Well, no, good afternoon, good afternoon. I've got makeup under my eyes. Sorry, I've just been finishing everything. I thought I'd get on before I did much more, and I haven't checked my face. Told you I'm not really good at looking in the mirror because I find too many things wrong if I do that. So I've been trying to get the classes organised, trying to catch up on. Hey, Jody, you're first up today. Trying to get things organised for the groups, trying to catch up on so much stuff. My normal housework morning. Hey, Haley, how you going? Oh no, look at me. If I look gorgeous, you need glasses. No, not being negative. I've just literally just stopped and thought. I just finished doing the weekly readings, so they'll be up as usual this evening. I'd also done all the stuff for the groups, got everybody organised. I've only got one place left in most groups now, so it's really cool. And then I'm going to start looking at running them on a different day at different times too, so other people can join in. But most people that from here that wanted to do them have got in, so that's really cool. Okay, so we're going to read a card. I thought I might do something different today, and I'm going to wait till a few more people come on board. I'm very well, thank you. Hey, Lauren, how you going? I'm always fabulous. I've had a couple of days off. I feel really good. I look grubby. I need a hair wash, but other than that, as I said, there's what you see is what you get. Alrighty, let's just go for an animal spirit card first. Good. I'm glad to see you're well. So I thought I'd do this. I've a couple of other things to do. And, oh, you know what? How funny you would say that. I've been on top of everything else. I've got 2 cards again. Oh, wow. I'm blown out by this. I only draw one and then another one always sneaks in behind it. I'm doing singing lessons myself at the moment. I thought as a bit of a treat to myself, I would learn to sing properly because I love singing. Hey, Jules, welcome on board. Lauren, I've got one place in just every group left, except for the last group. There's 3 places left in the last group. I will run them all again in July. So if you've missed out, if you don't get in and you do miss out, let me know. But if you want one, if you can get an email through to me straight away, because I'll be doing the invoices up for the first group around about the end of the month. Ooh la la. So I've always loved singing. And I always thought if I had an opportunity to learn, I would do it. And I would have preferred to go to classes, but at this time, nobody's really doing that. So I thought I'd buy an online thing. So I've been practicing the first step, try and get into it. But it's always been one of those sort of like a little bit of a desire of mine to be able to sing properly. So, oh, cool, no worries. If you want if you email me, just let me know which groups you're interested in and I'll get you in for those. Anyway, let's get on with this. So singing's my next thing. So hopefully, apart from, doing this and doing all the other things we want to do, hopefully I can sing for you one day as well. I probably could sing for you now, but I wouldn't feel as comfortable doing it. So, isn't that beautiful? Now, I've got to tell you something, Jody. My daughter's partner is on the spectrum. Hey, Kelly, how you going? Oh, it's Jane. You finally got on, Jane. I said hello to you yesterday because I knew you were there. My daughter's partner is on the spectrum. Now, he would have been classed as Asperger's before. He's the most beautiful man. I just adore him. He's got 2 siblings, and his sister sings the most, she's operatic, and I've never heard anybody sing so beautiful. She's autistic too, or has autism, and has the voice of an angel. I absolutely nearly fell over the first time I heard her sing. I don't think that, I look at the twins when we first had the twins, or my daughter first had the twins. One of them was nonverbal, and we pretty much thought that was going to be it. And he talks, oh my goodness, he does not stop talking now he's learned how to. So I think autism is something we are learning so much more about, and I love it totally. So I'm so happy for your son that he's found his singing voice, because it's such a good self-expression for him, right? So if they can't always, I mean, the boys are getting really good. Aiden is actually developing empathy, which I didn't think that they were supposed to be able to do, but he really understands empathy. So I feel that now we're working with the early intervention. I think this is working really well, and I think we're sort of getting, these kids are a little bit more confident about getting out there. I think they would have been hidden away from the community before. I have 2 cards, sidetracked again. I get off here and I think, wow, this is like talking to my daughter. I go home and think, did I tell her that? Did I say that? Because I get sidetracked. Oh, that's wonderful, Jody. I'm so happy for him. I just think that, some kids are so underestimated. Okay, so we have the bat and we have the snake. So it'd be interesting to see how they both go together. Now, of course, they are always a little bit more complex to find. There's the bat, and the snake should be here somewhere. I've lost the snake. They've classed him as a water creature. Just, no, talk amongst yourselves. I'll be with you in a moment. Why can I not find the snake? Okay, let's read the bat and then I'll go looking for the snake. The bat. Now, we've had the bat a few times. I feel like this is pretty much applying to everybody at the moment, so it's no wonder it keeps coming out. This is about the darkness, letting go, and death leading to rebirth. Before emerging, the bat waits for the sun to set and the moon to rise. In the darkness, it can see all that was invisible in the daylight hours. The bat is a master of the subtle senses, of the underlying forces that cause some things to prosper and other things to fade. The bat shows up to signify the ending of a chapter, the closing of a door. The bat comes swiftly, encouraging us to move on. In just a few hours, a new day dawns, and there's no more lingering in the past. This is what we're all being taught at the moment. So it just is amazing that comes out. So I love that when it's in balance, it's accepts, adapts, adjusts. Just remember those things. Now, let me see if I can find this snake. I think I need to have an electronic version of this so that I can just put it in. Because for some unknown reason, the page just won't show up. If I can't find it, I won't read it. I just figure that it wasn't coming out for a particular reason. Very interesting. Someone's stolen the snake. Ah, there it is. Okay. This is the guardian of unawakened magic and creative potential. I love it. I totally love it. Okay. The snake is a symbol of our highest potential. It is said that Shakti, our creative life force, lies dormant at the base of our spine in the form of a coiled snake. Regardless of whether this image rings true for you, it's worthwhile considering the amount of unawakened or untapped potential within and what life would look like if you woke it up. How can you stir it from slumber? An experienced yoga or meditation teacher can lead the way. Make haste. The snake appears when there's no more time to waste. So you can see how these two fit together now. So it's like we're coming out of the dark and sort of birthing this untapped potential. We are being given an opportunity to dig deep inside us. Now, somebody said yesterday something about ancestors and talking, we'll do that one day this week. We'll talk about how your ancestors stay with you on the journey and how they get you to move forward. I had a really sort of big epiphany the other day. So when we're talking about it, I will share with you. But this is definitely coming out of the dark, awakening, letting go of the past, and awaking your potential for the future here. This is complete rebirth. Absolutely beautiful. All right, I'm glad I found the snake then, even if it was hard. Okay. They're playing with your ear with the bat. No, there's no table of contents. I don't know why. They just seem to be all over the place, Kelly, but we'll get there. I've only really started to get into them, so I don't see. Yeah, this thing about having hidden knowledge, I've been hearing this from Spirit for a long time, that that there's some sort of untapped potential within this, and I'm still looking for it. So I'll get there. You teach yoga, yes, and it's really good because yoga, like even massage, some of those things, if somebody's really in tune with your body, they can actually tell you a lot of stuff that you can't see, feel, or whatever. Tamika, how you going? So there's a few people came in. Oh, Melissa, something big's coming for you then. Oh, that came straight out. Okay, so we have the card of go the distance come straight out of Wisdom of the Oracle. It didn't come out upside down either. It came out upright. 47. Went straight to the page too, which is quite interesting. Okay, go the distance. I love this. This is about endurance, strength, and the long haul. So to bring your dream to life, you must think long term and pay no attention to the fluctuations in the current of your experience. Joy and disappointment commingle with opportunities, so there is no need to fear the occasional obstacle. Life is not a sprint. This card is a reminder that you have endurance, strength, and fortitude to carry you all of the way. Remain true to yourself. Your authenticity alone will keep you in alignment with the energy of miracles. What is yours will never be withheld from you. Remember that. So doesn't that fit beautifully with the other two? Hey, Moira, how you going? Thanks, Tamika. Oh, wow. It's beautiful. So much is happening for us at the moment. Hey, Elise, welcome on board. So I was thinking what you would like to do today. We were talking about perhaps doing some readings online, not personal readings. It's just too difficult to do them on here. I do them on my Facebook page, and it's really easy to draw just one or two cards at a time. And I thought if we could find a question that everybody wanted, did anybody think of anything that we could ask for the whole group? Or the other option is if I can get someone to do to write up for me some timestamps for the readings, then I could do just a quick look into the star signs if you'd like me to do that. But let me know. Hey, Caitlin, how you going? Welcome on board. I think you've been on board before, but it's nice to see your face. So if you'd like me to do the star signs, I just need a volunteer to do timestamps for me because it will be too hard for people to find their readings. Oh, beautiful. Thanks, Caitlin. There you go. Got a volunteer. Now, the other thing I need to know too is if I miss a star sign, let me know and I'll grab just what you need to know right now. So just do a couple of cards for each sign. I've already done your weeklies and they'll be up shortly, but how about just a quick glimpse? Let's just do 3 cards and I'll pull extra cards if I need to. I can follow my list here because I do a list when I'm doing them up for the channel. So we can go by my list, which will make me make it nice. Yeah. All right then, cool. Let's just have a quick glimpse. All right, so Gemini's first up. This is for Gemini. Okay, so I'll hold them this way, I'll read them and then I'll show them to you. I have the 5 of Wands, the 2 of Swords, and the Justice card. So if anybody's waiting for a court case or something legal to come through, there's still some deliberation. There is no conclusion yet. So if you're waiting on money or something to do with a settlement here, there is still some confusion around an outcome for this. And it may come to you as a decision. So it's possible that somebody is going to offer you something here, even if it's not a court case, you're going to have an offer here. And you're going to be very torn on which way to go, okay? Because it looks to me like you'd rather not make this decision. You may not have all the information. It may be quite confusing. But I want to say to you, it looks to me when I see the Justice card that no matter which way you go with this decision is going to be the right one for you. Now, that sort of complicates things sometimes for people because they're sort of like, how can I know if I've made the right decision? Well, the universe is saying here, the decision you make will be the right one. Okay, so you do not have to worry, Gemini. It is going to be the right decision for you, even if it takes a little bit to sort of get out of your head and make the decision. Maybe you even have to sit down and decide. It could be agreeing to a financial settlement for divorce, but it also could be something else. It could be even having an offer of a job or a career move. Whatever you choose is right for you. Okay, Jane is a Gemini. Oh, that's really good for you, Jane. That is really good for you. Okay. Oh, interesting. Interesting. I thought we could put timestamps up. It might have to go up afterwards then. If they do, then I'll probably have to pin them to the top. It doesn't matter. People can find their way through them if they need to. Okay, so we're going on to Scorpio here. Scorpio is next on my list. Scorpio. Okay. Oh, and it's really funny because I'm pretty sure Scorpio got this in the weekly reading too. Okay. Something is coming in very, very quickly. Possibly could be to do with work, could be to do with a job opportunity here. There is something that is bringing a wish in. And it's coming in quickly too. So this is something you're probably going to hear about in the next 8 to 10 days here. So it's very, very close. Something you've been wishing for, some sort of opportunity is finally going to come your way. Now, it could be something you've been waiting on for a while. If you're a Scorpio, it could have been very, very slow. Maybe because it's been held up because of the sort of times at the moment. But definitely a wish coming true. So whoever's got Scorpio here, you've got something wonderful coming your way. And I have a feeling Scorpio had that in their weekly reading as well. So I might be wrong. I only have a little bit of Scorpio in my chart, so I don't always watch the Scorpios. Okay, so we move to Sagittarius. We'll do it. Well, next time, Caitlin, we'll do it. We'll have a clock on hand or something. Oh, no, you can't do it that way, can you? That doesn't work either. It shows up here. Perhaps I should be telling you what time I have here. Maybe that's the way to go. All right, so we're going to do Sagittarius, and it's 18 minutes, 18.15. 18 minutes, 15 seconds. And it's for Sagittarius. Sagittarius. Kelly, you're a Sagittarius. Okay, Sagittarius. Oh, okay. There's something that's stuck here. Something you're going to have news about that has been stuck for a long while. Could be dealing with a Capricorn, Taurus, or Virgo, but somebody who's earthy. Could be a husband, father, a father figure here. But there seems to have been something that hasn't moved forward here. Now, it could be a romance or a love. I have nothing here to tell me. But if you haven't heard from somebody for a while, something was perhaps left unsaid or undone. Sometimes this is somebody just not speaking up about something. So you could have some sort of, could be a family tiff or a tiff with a father figure. There seems to be some sort of communication here. So if you've had someone who's laid low for a very long time, it could possibly be somebody coming through here to give you a message. Now, there's no cups here. So when I see that, I think we have wands, swords, and pentacles. So it can be anything but love. So I feel this may not be so much about love as patching something up, an apology, clearing the energy, clearing a stalemate, clearing an argument here, but definitely sort of putting things back on track again is what Spirit's saying, back on track. All right. Let's have a look at Aquarius. Aquarius is coming up next. It's 20 minutes 12. And we'll read for Aquarius. Aquarius reading was a really nice reading on the weekly ones this week too, if you're an Aquarius. A lot of twin flame energy coming through even in the weekly readings, so a lot of movement there. Okay. Aquarius. I'm taking one from the top, one from the bottom, and one from the middle for this reading. Oh, see, I said Aquarius had a great reading for the weekly, and look what's come out here. So if you're an Aquarius, I have Aquarius in my Venus. If you're an Aquarius, look at this. Do I need to say anything for that? There is something coming towards you, something that is most likely romantic love, someone who is feeling very, very passionate about you. Somebody could be a Leo because of the Sun card here, but this person has an offer. They're feeling very, very passionate, very fired up, very intimate energy with the wands, but they also have a great deal of love here. And oh, there you go, Hayley. And there is a lot of joy and happiness in this. So something beautiful is coming your way. And I'm pretty sure Aquarius had a good reading as well. So look out for that. Okay. We're going to Leo. I have Leo on my list next, and it's around about 21:45. Leo. Oh, yeah, there you go. I've got Leo sitting next to me as well. If you're dealing with a Leo, Jody. No, I haven't got to Libra yet, Jeanette. Jody. Jody. Didn't you say that you are an Aquarius? And I said, are you dealing with a Leo? Look what Leo's got too. There's Leo and Aquarius love coming through here. Someone is either moving away from another situation or moving away from something that's held them back. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean you know this person. It's possible you do. But someone here is moving out of a bit of a dark time to be able to move forward on something. Now, if this is you, it's possible that you're coming out of a tough time and finding self-love here. So sometimes when we sort of get back to where we need to be, we can look forward rather than looking back. So this energy here is being able to leave the past behind and go towards the future with a sense of love. So it could be an offer of love, or it could be regaining your own self-love, okay? All right, so we do Taurus next. Yeah, you've got Venus in Aquarius too, and you are waiting on a Leo. Yeah, everybody I meet has Leo in their chart. I'm sure the universe has sorted that out just to confuse me. I have been dealing with a Leo, but not really overly struck on the inconsistency. Okay, Leo, and we're 23:48 for Leo. No, we didn't. We just did Leo, didn't we? Yes, sorry, Taurus. All right, let's shuffle again. Scrap that time, Caitlin. We are reading for Taurus. Taurus, and it's 24:12 for Taurus. Oh, you get both, Lauren. You're a lucky girl. Okay, Taurus. Oh, another nice one. These are nice little readings. I'm glad we decided to do this. Some happiness coming forward for you here, Taurus, in a very big way. I feel like this could be someone from your past, even though I don't have a card here to show that. It feels to me like you may have someone coming back in here. But whatever it is, if you're meeting someone new, it's very, very quick moving. Someone is really keen to get something started with you here. If it's the case and they're kicking off this quickly, just be a little bit cautious, because I feel like this person wants to move things along very quickly. They feel this connection with you, they see their happiness, and they want something in a big hurry. Now, it could be, I always take the 8 as being 8 days or 8 weeks, probably more likely 8 weeks in this current climate, but someone has seen the potential with you here. Absolutely beautiful. So if you're a Taurus, take that reading. All right, Virgo next. Okay, Virgo had a really nice reading too, if you're a Virgo. Yes, very interesting. Virgo. Oh, I got the Tower out for Virgo here. That just jumped out at me. If you're a Virgo, there's some breaking down of old ways in order for you to move forward. The Tower can show a restart in career, I'd say there. Yeah, I think perhaps a restart in terms of your career or something you're working on. Maybe going back and doing something again because you've got new information. Sometimes it's about us learning from our past mistakes. It's almost like you're stripping something back and starting again here, Virgo. All right, let's just have a look. Virgo. So we've got 2620. Virgo. Okay, very serious stuff here. This is what we're talking about. So whoever that is a Virgo here, there seems to be something you need to let go of to start again. Now, if you've got your own business, it may be that you've been putting a lot of energy into what you were thinking was the right thing to do, but you're going to get some sort of awareness this week about doing something differently, because it's going to bring in victory. But in order to get victorious with this, you have to let go of an old way of doing. So sometimes we get very, very comfortable with doing things in a very set way, or we think we've got it right. Okay. Now, the Emperor's here to tell me that either you're going to get some sort of guidance here from someone, or you're going to be taking control of this and moving in a very different direction. What I love about this is the Six of Wands is here. So it means that the new way that you're going to take after you've broken down the old way is going to lead you to just not public recognition, but certainly to allowing things to fall away so you can rebuild something much better. Now, this could be in any area of your life, but because the Tower and the Eight of Pentacles came out at the beginning, I'm feeling here it's got something to do with the way you make your money. So it could be you're giving away an old career and moving into a new career. Could be that you're finally putting that degree to work. But if it's your own business, they're saying you're doing it wrong. You're doing it in the wrong way. It's not the best way to do your business. So it could be about, opening yourself up online, picking up that YouTube channel, something you've avoided doing here that you need to do a different way. Well, that helps, Jules. Okay, now Pisces is next. Pisces. Give the cards a good shuffle. Virgo is the only one that's had cards jump out. So I would say because they've jumped out, if you're a Virgo, it's particularly important for you. Okay, so we have Pisces next. Pisces. Ooh. Pisces, I can feel you're leaving something behind before I even put these cards out here. Okay. You may be dealing with a Cancer, but I want to say to you, something has taken a long time to either get past, finish up, or move forward. But you've got forward movement now. So it feels like things have been very slow. Now, you could have felt stuck, because sometimes when I get the Chariot card, to me, it feels like you could be stuck. and I have the Knight of Pentacles here. Now, it could be that you have a Cancer coming towards you who's taking their time. There is a victory here, which is really nice, but there's almost like this feeling that you had to finish something up first. It's not coming that easily to you. So you could have had to finish with a Cancer person to move forward, but there's some sort of forward movement finally happening after a period of stagnancy, and it's coming. Whatever it is you're waiting for, it is coming, but it's taking its time. I think you probably can feel it because of this victory card. I think you know it's coming, whatever this is, but it's taking its time. Okay, Capricorn. Thanks, Cherie. Okay, so that resonated for somebody there. Okay, what was the time now for Capricorn is 30 minutes and 40 seconds. Okay. Capricorn. This is my sign. This is my sun sign, by the way. Oh, no, no. I'll go with Libra if Libra's better. Okay, so Capricorn. Who's Capricorn? We have that darn tower. I've been looking at this tower forever. You know how I said Spirit keeps saying to me about this breaking down of an old way of being. And because I keep thinking I've got some gift within me that I can't quite work out what it is, I'm thinking, here we go. Look, more meditation, more breaking down, conflict. Okay, so let me just have a feel of this energy. Okay. The only way you're going to get to this, if you have Capricorn in your chart and you've been working to find out what it is that you are holding within you, because it's been coming out in all the Capricorn readings, there's something you're holding back on. Now, there's a very strong feeling here. It has something to do with your passion. There is this feeling here that you are keeping something trapped in the tower, Rapunzel. And you're not allowing it free. Something is going to happen. Some sort of communication here is going to bring this about. So if you are currently working on this and doing the meditation, you're about to find out what this is about. It's very close now. I don't know what sort of energy. Oh, 3040, look it up. There you go. Just watch the numbers. Okay, we're moving on to Cancer now. And it is 3232, talking of numbers. So whoever's a Cancer, this one's for you. Okay. Whoo, there's a decision to be made here. A decision to be made, something that is in line with your destiny. Something perhaps here that you are knowing you have to do, but it seems to me that you are a little bit stuck. We've seen a lot of this Two of Swords energy here. It's a download. Cool. Thank you. How interesting. I'm hoping that download comes soon. I've been trying to search for it for a really long time. I had a dream about maybe a year or so ago, and it was so potent. And somebody came to me and said that I was going to be able to use another aspect of myself a lot more potent. And that was when my bed kept shaking all the time. So it was quite interesting. Okay, so here we have someone stuck in a stalemate. Someone needs to make some sort of decision here in order to move forward. They know it's part of their destiny. Destiny is calling them. They probably, if you're Cancer, you're probably in the stages of healing at the moment. But whatever this is, you are on the threshold of something new coming through for you here, because there's going to be great celebration around this. Whoever this Cancer is has to leave something behind. A very strong feeling of having to leave something behind in order to make this decision. Oh, that's interesting. But this decision to leave something behind in order to bring in some beautiful, beautiful energy, but a decision has to be made. Okay, so we're moving on to Aries. Now, who said they were an Aries? I remember. Thank you, Jules. Thank you, because I can't help it. I keep thinking I need to be doing the work all the time, and I keep thinking I don't want to keep doing the work in order to find. So you're saying just, oh, you're kidding, Jane. Look at you go. Lovely. We finally got, Jane was never able to comment before. So every time we did the live, she would listen and then she would comment to me afterwards, which was really lovely. But I kept saying to her, I don't know what's wrong, why you can't comment. And she's got it. Look at that. Absolutely beautiful. Okay, so we're doing Aries. So where is the lovely, I know somebody said they were an Aries. Was it Lauren? Yes. Lauren's clapping you there, Jane. Okay. Aries. Aries had a nice reading too today. There you go. If you've got, did you say Aries and Taurus? I think you're going to have a really nice week here. Aries and Taurus, yeah. Okay. All right. Oh, see, told you. How lovely is that? So, for Aries here, this is something coming through very, very quickly. There's a message from someone who wants something more stable here. This could be a long-term relationship. Never get sick of you, Jane. This could be a long-term relationship being offered here. Something very stable. I feel like you're dealing with a fire sign. This is someone who's feeling very passionate. But something coming through very quickly, possibly within the next 8 weeks. Did we say that for Taurus? That's really interesting. Okay. And I just wondered if Caitlin, did I say the time on that? It must have been about 36, say 36:30. This is definitely some sort of relationship, some sort of offer coming through for you here. Aries, which is coming true. So you must have had a really good weekly reading as well. I thought we might have been. That's really interesting. So there you go. That's why it's worth watching your moon and your sun. Although you're a cusper, aren't you? Oh, look at this. Rebirth. Someone coming back from your past. Okay, this is Libra. Libra has the rebirth card. So for all you Libras up there, if you're waiting for someone to return, someone's about to send you a message or make contact with you again. Okay. Oh, someone has something to say. Ouch. Oh, ow. So I kept the rebirth card, but these are the cards that came out. Okay, so you have somebody who's got something to say here, Libra, and the time was 37, say 38 minutes, Caitlin. There is conversation here, very honest conversation. Somebody wants to either fess up, speak a truth, admit something, tell you something. There's a really, really strong communication coming through here. This person wants to have victory, but you've got someone here who's very, very scared of coming forward, had a lot of anxiety here about whether they should tell you this truth. There is a victory here, so that's a very, very good sign. Definitely somebody from your past offering you some sort of peace or closure perhaps on something that's happened, but definitely something that's going to turn out really well. I don't know who this is, but they're very anxious about coming forward here. So they may have been thinking about this for a while. I feel that they want a second chance with you, but there's some sort of conversation that has to take place to clear whatever energy was left behind. There you go. 111, 111, 111, 1111, 111, 111. Caitlin, you're a Libra too. Hayley's a Libra. So there you go. That's all of them. That was quick, wasn't it? That didn't take barely. I could have made them a little bit longer, you know. I only went with 3 cards because I thought we could do that nice and quickly. But next time I can probably pull out a few extra ones. Okay. Now let's do a collective then. Seeing as we've still got a bit of time. Yeah, they would have only been 2 minutes. As I said, Caitlin, if I'd have thought that they were going to do them that quickly, I would have made them a little bit longer. Hey, Carla, how you going? I would have made them a little bit longer. But anyway, we'll keep going. There was one little story. I was just paying attention to one little comment that came up there that I just need to go and work out what it meant. But I actually, there you go. Guess who can bin comments? I can delete comments from here. I didn't know I could do that. Yeah, there was a comment there and I was like, okay, that doesn't make any sense to me. But anyway, it was in another language. Pretty hard to work out what it means if it's in another language. All right, collective message. Let's see what's going down. The messages from the beginning were really nice too, so make sure you go back and watch the bat and the snake. Sagittarius, yes, we did that about, I think that was the 3rd one. Yeah, watch again later. But we'll do a bit of a collective anyway. And your weeklies are done, so I'll get them up. I usually put them up in the evening. Okay, collective message. All right, 3 of Wands, 7 of Wands, 10 of Cups. No, I was going to say the Hierophant. It's not the Hierophant. And all I can think of is Aries. It's the, oh my God, I've gone blank. It's the Divine Masculine with the 3 of Wands. Okay, let me just have a look at the energy here. Somebody's taking their power back. Okay. I feel like there's a very strong energy here of people finding their own independence, learning how they have the Emperor, that's the card. There is a lot of people really learning to take their power back here, really understanding what it means to own your own power. This week is going to definitely be a time for really bringing in new things, really looking towards the future. It really is becoming evident that people are starting to understand how to let go of their past energies. Because I find, in the last few readings I've done, it's like people are not holding on to, things they know from their past. So I guess people are really starting to understand how the past holds them back. Because I feel a lot of people moving towards manifestation, new relationships. Maybe this time in lockdown's done everybody so much good in helping people really understand how to move forward rather than holding themselves back. A lot of Wands energy here, a lot of passion, a lot of fire. And the 10 of Cups says to me, guys, you're getting your ducks in a row. Okay, so whatever you're working towards, whatever you're trying to get going here, this is the time to really embrace it. Because I don't know what time that was, Caitlin, maybe about 42. This is the time to embrace this inner strength that you're being shown. Now, I don't know for everyone how that will manifest for you, but it's almost like you are starting to understand that your past is not who you are. So possibly letting go of a lot of childhood stuff, a lot of energy from your deep past, but not so much energy that perhaps you can recognize. Perhaps just learning, that you are capable of doing things, gathering your confidence, finding your self-esteem, but definitely finding this really nice sort of self-love. And look what came out. The Empress. So you're all finding like your inner Empress here. And I think that's really beautiful because maybe with this time and having a lot of time to think, we've been able to sort of see ourselves as, a lot more things than just the shell that holds us. Because you're birthing new things here. You're being able to manifest. Now you're understanding your own personal value and bringing back, there's this, oh, this is beautiful. Okay, this is stunning. Okay, so we have the Empress, followed by the Strength card, followed by the Star, and there's no more of this. So what a lot of people are getting a hold on is their negative thinking here. Not feeling as trapped. Maybe it might be a small move. It may be that, once you got trapped in your head, you'd be there for a long time. Maybe you're understanding how to pull yourself out of that energy, rather than sort of, okay, it's like you're not suppressing stuff anymore. You're speaking, you're allowing yourself to talk. You're also understanding that suffering is only happening to you. You're doing it to yourself. So it's like you're understanding here how to let go of that. Now, the Strength card always talks about taming your inner demons. And with the Empress card here, I feel like you're almost birthing yourself again. You're allowing yourself to sort of go back to the beginning and start again. Do not pass go, do not collect 200, right? But there's this beautiful feeling that you're aligning yourself with what the universe wants to bring to you now. So if it's been something you've been after and you've been sort of going into these thoughts of, it will never happen, I'll never get there, I'm not worthy, whatever, don't be listening to them anymore, because what the universe is saying here is if you trust in yourself and you trust in the greater powers out there, you're going to get everything you desire here, because you're coming up as this Empress. Now, if any of you are wanting to have babies, if you're not, if you're still at baby making age, there could be a chance here that you will fall pregnant, because there's this sort of feeling now that you're letting go of the pressures around you to becoming what you need to be. Yeah, I agree with you, Jules, becoming your own truth, like you're really understanding who you are at a much deeper level now. You're not what your mother told you. You're not what your school told you. You're not what the government tells you. You are who you are. And that is a much greater being than what you've been thinking you were here. But I feel like a lot of you stepping out of this sort of overthinking energy, being able to let go of that sort of constant gnawing at yourself, being able to let go of the suffering, because sometimes the suffering, it's really strange, because I think of, I worked with kids for a long while, youth, and a lot of youth self-harm. And with the self-harming, when I used to talk to them about it, a lot of the self-harming was about releasing energy, because they felt that if they cut themselves, bleeding made them feel human, and therefore they could let go of the energy. That's sort of what we're doing when we're suffering. So if something's caused us pain or distress, we go over and over and over it in our heads, and we make ourselves suffer. We're constantly punishing ourselves, constantly. And that is what we've somehow adapted to doing as part of this life. So it's sort of like you've got to understand that you need to let go of that energy, because you don't want to keep suffering. And as long as you're suffering, you're not allowing your power free. So you stop yourself from manifesting the very thing you want. So it's sort of like you're just holding yourself back. Because you believe that you need to be punished. I remember somebody talking about this yesterday with me, because I said I couldn't remember what it's called when the Christians used to beat themselves on the back, self-flagellation. Beating yourself on the back with the cat o' nine tails and ripping the skin off your back every time you start thinking about something, this self-flagellation thing. And that very thing is what is actually holding you back. Thanks, Jody. It's the very thing that's holding you back. So, like the kids that cut themselves, and that's self-harming in the same way. Each time you do that, it's like you're reinforcing to yourself that you're not good enough, or you can't have what you want. And while you're feeling that way, you're keeping yourself pinned to the same spot. So if you start to understand how manifestation works, you allow that energy to go. You don't have to keep punishing yourself all the time for not being able to attain something, for not being able to bring something in. So you need to allow that to disappear. So that's what that energy is. It's like a lot of you are starting to understand how you constantly keep yourself stuck in one place by beating yourself over the head about what's happening. You've got to understand how to release the energy. How do you do that? That's probably different for every one of us. But I'll always say one of the best ways to do it is meditation. Meditation is fantastic because it gets you in your body and it gets you living in the moment. You are no longer allowing your mind to control you. All the time you're letting your mind control you, then your ego can just take over and it will convince you that you're never going to go anywhere. You're just going to overthink it time and time again and keep yourself stuck. I feel really strongly that so many people are starting to get that. The living in the moment. And when you meditate, you live in the moment. Now, I do have people say to me, I can't meditate. I find it really hard. It does take practice. You are not going to get it right the first time. Start with a really short meditation. I found a beautiful one by Michael Sealey the other day on YouTube that went for 15 minutes, which is a very quick meditation you can do pretty much any time. People say the thoughts keep coming into my head, and we talked about that a couple of weeks ago. If the thoughts come in, just recognize the thought, say thank you very much for showing me that, and just let it go again. And it's the space between your thoughts that calms your mind. So the more you do it, the spaces get bigger. The more you practice meditation, the more time in between your thoughts, and that's what you're after. And hey, Sarah, how you going? And I think I've said to you, Dr. Dispenza always calls it the space between your thoughts, which I think Eckhart Tolle talks about too. It's the space between your thoughts that really starts you off. Oh, hello, Susan. How you going? Now, Lauren's just said to me, often when I'm working with people, I say to them, if you can't meditate, try tapping, because tapping, or EFT, there's a guy called Brad Yates on YouTube. Again, if you don't like his voice, that's fine. I find his voice very calming. Start with tapping. Now, tapping is a process that they used with small children that were suffering trauma. So it's not a difficult process. And you can get your kids to do it with you too if you're at home with your kids. It's just a process that basically moves the energy around your body. And it's very, very good to do if you're suffering from, pain or traumatic circumstances, or you're upset. The reason it's so good is because it only takes a couple of minutes to go through a routine, and you can do it in the car before you go in for a job interview, and it will help calm you down. And the idea is tapping on certain places on your body help you to move the energy so it's not stuck. Now, if you can start with that, then you will be able to meditate for sure after a period of time, because the tapping helps you to feel calm regardless. Tapping is excellent. Watching your breathing is another good thing. And of course, that's what you do with meditation. They get you to breathe. A lot of us don't breathe properly. So when I was young, it was one of the first things I learned to do when I understood panic. I suffered really badly with panic attacks and really bad anxiety, and I learned to breathe properly. Now, I can't remember who told me first, but it was a counsellor I'd been to see, and they taught me the process of fight, flight, freeze syndrome. And once I understood the concept of that, then I could understand how to get my breathing back to normal breathing rather than high breathing. So for some unknown reason, many of us breathe into our lungs, at the top of our lungs, when we should be breathing down in the diaphragm. So when you're doing meditation, I always say to people, put your hands on your stomach and feel your breathing down lower. It isn't supposed to be breathing in the top of your lungs. You're supposed to breathe into your diaphragm. Now, I know that that's a funny thing to say, and I've had people say to me, well, of course you breathe into your lungs. I'm like, okay, perhaps go and have a look at some of the Asian concepts around breathing properly, because if you can breathe properly, it's automatically calming. Breathing into your diaphragm is so much better for you rather than shallow breathing into the top part of your lungs. And if you're always shallow breathing, that means you're constantly stuck in fear and anxiety. That means your body is constantly hypervigilant. So learn to breathe into your diaphragm. If it's the first thing you do and it's the only thing that you learn to start off with, it is going to make such a huge difference for you. Now, I don't breathe into the top part of my lungs at all. It doesn't matter what time of the day, I know I'm breathing into my diaphragm. But it took a little bit of practice, but I got there. So definitely. Oh, there you go. You did a brilliant light activation meditation by Christina Lopez. Okay, there's a really good one. Healing your inner child, definitely. Tapping is excellent. Watching your breathing. Don't know if that will work or not. Stress. Yeah, your belly should push out and in as you breathe in. See, Jodie's a yoga person, so she would know that. But what happens is we tend to sort of get into this stress response of breathing into the top part of our lungs, which sort of keeps us in that hypervigilant state, which means that we get anxious more quickly. We respond more quickly to things. We're more emotional. If you learn to breathe into your diaphragm, you will keep yourself calm and your emotions won't come to the top so quickly. There you go. You allow for your tummy to rise to use the diaphragm. That's how you start. Beautiful. Breathing through the diaphragm releases the tension in the tummy, which releases the stress and allows you to relax. So many of you know this already. Big breaths into the, big walnut-sized ones. Oh, I love that, Jodie. No walnut-sized breaths. Breathing deep into your diaphragm. And that's where the deep breathing comes from. I'll have to look up Christina Lopez. So and you've got it too, Jodie. Yeah, it took you 3 years. I sort of, when I first did it, I was really, really good. And I remember thinking, wow, this is easy, like everything. But if you don't practice constantly to get it right, you find you're doing it again. So now if I'm upset and I go into that post-traumatic sort of state and I start breathing in the top of my lungs, I can feel it straight away. It freaks me out. All the adrenaline, all that feeling just starts to freak me out because I'm not used to it anymore. Whereas it was natural for me when I was going through all that sort of horrible stuff I went through and the panic disorder. But at the time, I being a Capricorn, thought that it was just there was something wrong with me, and if I worked harder, pushed harder, did more, that it would just fix it. But of course it didn't. It made me worse, made me very sick. It's not just women, Moonstone. It actually is a lot of people who live in the top of their lungs. I actually have a few people I've spoken to about deeper breathing when they've seemed a little anxious about something, and they've found that concept because they're men and they don't really have, not all men, these men didn't really have this sort of concept. They think I'm a bit airy-fairy sometimes when I say things. And it's pointless trying to push against something that's not going to listen. But when I said to them, you'd actually relieve your stress a lot if you just learn to breathe deeper into your body. They're like, my lungs are what I breathe into. I'm breathing fine. Thank you very much. I'm like, okay. Infants breathe properly. Yep, so do Asian people. So there is something in what we do that we don't teach people how to do things properly. But you've got to remember, some of those Asian countries teach meditation right from the get-go. So they're already teaching their children. The only thing it tends to do is sometimes you don't get the displays of emotions. So what happens is people think that Asian people don't show emotions so much because they always seem to be so very calm, which I think is absolutely amazing. But that is why, because they're taught to breathe properly. They're not so emotional, not emotional wrecks like us. Statistically, women do it more. Well, that's quite interesting then. Um, and Jodie's talking about doing the 10 breaths out, 10 breaths in, 4 breathes out, or yeah, in time. Yeah, timing. There we go. When you fall asleep tonight, just put one hand on your belly and one hand on your heart. Breathe into your belly and feel all the way up to the heart. There's some good advice to you. And then when you do that, it probably make you sleep. Yeah, once you get out of the habit of it, Caitlin, it's a little, you've got to sort of almost start again, haven't you? Um, with the women not using the bottom of their lungs, I'd be really interested to see why that is. Maybe because we're hypervigilant, because we're children raisers or something. I remember getting into this years ago because people used to always say about equality, and I used to say there are some things about being equal to men that we will never be equal to men, regardless of what you say. First, because we birth children and they don't, but secondly, because they are so much more muscle and we are so much more fat, because we are childbearers. Okay, so there's lots of things that make us very different. And I remember getting into this when Alan Pease was doing a lot of the body language stuff, me and my book Freak. And I remember reading the whole men are from Mars, women are from Venus thing, and learning so much about the differences between men and women. So, yeah, you got to start all over again. um, Oh, why did you retract that? That was beautiful, Jodie. Please, everybody's loving listening to you. Please, you're the yoga guru. I learn from you too, so don't ever stop. It's all shared here. Please don't worry. Yeah, so I remember reading about all this stuff about the body, how men and women are different, and we think we're equal, but there are physiological things about us that are very different. I'm not saying either is better, nothing to do with it. One thing that I thought was really interesting, and I'll never forget, is the fact that a woman can see further behind her. So when she's looking straight ahead, she has greater vision to the sides. She can actually see better to the sides. A man doesn't do that. A man has more of a tunnel vision. They can't see right back to here like we can. It's something that was to do with hunting, because of the fact that, and this is why women can multi-skill or multitask, because women were, stayed at home while the man went off hunting. So he needed his vision to be a certain way. The woman had to be home, her vision, her hearing, cooking, looking after the children, all of those things in caveman times had to be really, really vigilant because they were looking after children, their home, and everything else. The man did the hunting. That was the way it was in those days. So he needed more vision to look ahead. He needed to concentrate more primarily on one thing at a time, whereas a woman had the chance to do lots of things. So we may laugh and joke about that, but actually there's some physiological reasons for why it happens. Richard Simmons. Oh, golly, that's so cool. I forgot about Richard Simmons. Oh, Angela, you probably missed a bit. You're probably going to have to go back and watch stuff. No, we're quite different to men in lots of ways, and it really shocked me. And as I said, we talk about, equal pay and being equal, and the things we've got to say and the things we don't. That's, irrelevant here. What I'm talking about is sort of more the physiological things that, we can, like, how many times do you laugh at men because they can only do one thing at once? They find it very difficult to do 2 or 3 things. And yet as women, we manage that quite normally, and we think we do it because we've just learned to do it that way. But actually, we're more primordial skills. I think that's what they call it, isn't it? Where you're sort of the skills that you're actually born with are very different. So it's quite interesting. We are awesome. Go, Moira. I don't know that we have any guys on board. I mean, Scott's usually here. He may be in the background hiding. He's done that before too. If you're out there, Scott, I'm keeping an eye on you. This about women is from medical studies about lung capacity, but they didn't explain why. I'm a specialized exercise trainer. I'm given studies like these so I can help with exercise. Do you know when do you get tunnel vision when you have panic attacks? Really? Yeah, that's right. I knew all the other stuff with the panic attacks. I can remember it so well. They're horrible, horrible things. But once I understood them and understood the physiological response, I read a lot of books. I went to the doctor and said, there's something wrong with me. And the doctor said, here's some Valium, go home, rest, have your Valium, and you'll come good in no time at all. And I was like, no, I don't want to know that. I want to know what's wrong with me, because I thought there was something physically wrong with me. I had no idea it was my brain. So I went home and I couldn't eat, I couldn't sleep, I was so sick. I had constantly sitting on the toilet, and constantly in that attack phase, that just being strung out all the time. I couldn't eat. I was absolutely just a mess. And then I didn't have any trouble going out. So I didn't realize, I didn't sort of relate it to agoraphobia, but I did get sort of really scared in some situations and didn't really understand why. So I found that when I was somewhere for too long, like a shopping center, I'd start to get panicky, but still didn't understand it. So I ended up having to give up work. I couldn't work. I was such a mess. And I stayed home and tried to find out what was wrong, but I couldn't. We didn't have the things we have nowadays, like Google. I'd have been great if I'd had Google. So I had to work it out for myself. But this friend of mine, my daughter, had said something to a friend, this girl I knew years before. I hadn't seen her for like 20 odd years. And she said something to her about something. And I remember her ringing me up and saying to me, you have agoraphobia. Go and read a book, or see if you can get a book by a Dr. Claire Weekes. So I got to the library and started reading up. And for the 6 months I was off work, I just read up on what was wrong with me. Once I understood the physiological response, once I understood to accept rather than fight, but I was trying to fight against it all the time, thinking I was doing the right thing, but I was raising the adrenaline rather than allowing it to just dissipate. So it took me about 6 months, but I got it in the end. We can multitask like beasts. We most definitely can. Some men are awesome. Yeah, I think there are a lot of, I know some absolutely amazing, beautiful men. Absolutely. Just not all of them. The fight or flight, and the freeze, of course, too, which is part of that. Thanks, Moira. Oh, God, you're just beautiful. Angela's got a daughter. Oh, rightio. Yeah, okay. I still think that there is definitely a need for some medication for people short term, but you can't give people medication if you can't tell them how to work with those symptoms. So what happens is you go to the doctor and the doctor treats the symptoms, which is great because they give us things to help us feel calm. They give us things to help us sort of get along on a day-to-day basis, but you still haven't solved the problem. And you really need to understand what the problem is. So this is why I say to people, if you're going to take the medication, that's great, but also look for counseling. Look for someone you can go and talk to who can walk you through why your body is responding like it is. Mine was just overwork. I was working 50, 60 hours a day with 3 children. Like, really? 50, 60 hours a week with 3 children. It was just too much. I drove myself into a ground and I just kept doing it more. And I was living on no food at all. I dropped down to about 55 kilo. It's awful. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And it's about getting your body back into, Jane her son has panic attacks too. Counseling is definitely a big recommendation, but a lot of people now have the anti-anxiety meds, which are good because they just calm you down just for a while you try to get a handle on it. With the multitasking thing, I read that in a book by Alan Pease many, many years ago, and he said something about it was developed in the days of when we had to sort of look after ourselves and watch our camps and all those things. It's all back to that fright, flight, freeze syndrome. Um, yeah, okay, so you did the same thing when you understood Jody. Yeah, once I understood what it was doing. Hey, Kavitha, how you going? Once I understood, what time is it here? It's what, 1:10 on Sunday, 1:10 PM. Oh, Moira said she's got an awesome man. Does he have any brothers that you could send across? Hello, Hero. Hi. Jody. Yeah, I think the medicine's good to help you get back on your feet again. I guess that's where I'm thinking. I mean, I know a lot of people with anxiety who drink alcohol because that calms them down, but of course the problem's still there the next day. So it's not really solving your problem. But I think that when you're like I was, when you're really in amongst the panic and every moment's nearly a panic attack, the medication does help to calm that down while you work on all the other stuff. So it took me a little while to be able to get back to eating properly again, and taking care of myself again, because I was quite a mess by the time I got to that. And of course, on top of all that, you've got the worry of not bringing in an income for your family, which was really stressful. But I couldn't do anything about it. I was just lucky in those days that my kids were young enough I could go on a pension. But it really helps to relieve the anxiety whilst you're working on what is causing or creating that. Now, as I said, my burnout, I think, was more from stress, trying to do too much, trying to push myself to the nth degree. But for other people, sometimes anxiety is not really due to anything in particular. It's just your hypervigilant state. So some people don't have issues and problems. So if you go to a counselor to talk about those, then sometimes it sort of gets things back in order for you again, gets your thinking back to, where it should be. So if you have to take medication for a little while in order to calm yourself to do the counseling, then I think that's really great. If you have to stay on the medication, I think that's okay too. But I think it's good to have an understanding of why your body is reacting the way it is, or your mind. Yeah, I think it's really important, Moira. I agree with you. I think it's really important to understand why it's happening more than anything. But then some people don't need to. As I said, some people would just take drugs and alcohol because that numbs them just for that moment and they don't have to address the problem. But actually addressing the problem is really, really good for you to grow through and understand. When the doctor gave me Valium, I was like, okay, I've had Valium like once or twice in my life. They gave it to me when I was pregnant with one of my kids because I needed to stay in bed. I was having issues and problems, and they needed me to stay calm, stay in bed. And I wouldn't take it. And when the doctor gave me the Valium for the panic attacks, I remember taking the first one and I hated it. I hated the feeling of not being in control. And people talk about, liking drugs. And it was like, I'm not really sure I like this feeling at all. So I really wanted to find out what was wrong with me then. Yeah, absolutely, Angela. That's beautiful. So really, really good that you can do an hour 10. We have to. I think it's really good to have the medication just to start with, for sure. But if someone needs to take the medication, then I think most of the medications these days for anxiety are fairly safe. So I think that yeah, there you go. That what is it? The drug that everybody's been given now that really knocks you out. Yeah, I don't want to take medication if I don't have to. And I've always been the same. I've been the same since the beginning of time. Not that I didn't do some, naughty stuff when I was younger, but that's not the point here. I'm talking about taking drugs for when I don't need them. And if the doctor says to me, oh, you need to take this, or I'm going to recommend this, or whatever else, I want to know the ins and outs of what that drug is going to do and whether it's really going to help me or not. And am I going to become dependent on it? In which case, I'd rather work it out myself. I'll take antibiotics if I have to, but I'm really not big on drugs. But for someone else, I'm not even making a judgment there, because for some people, they need to have that support to work through whatever they've got going on. So I know a lot of people who are on antidepressants, anti-anxiety meds because they find it difficult to cope with their life as it is, and that's okay. I don't see a problem with that. What's good for them is really, really good. All I'm really saying is that it doesn't hurt to get an understanding of what is going on so that your mind understands it a little better. Yeah, okay, there's some new things coming out about anxiety too, and that's what I said, the tapping has been a big one for anxiety. Learning to obviously get really hard for kids to meditate, but learning to calm the body or quieten the body. One of the twins, one of my grandsons had really bad meltdowns, and when he was in the meltdown, it was like he just looked through us. He couldn't actually see. He would be so so angry, or so it was all about anxiety, really. He was just terrified he was going to fail. So rather than fail at something, he just went into these rages. And they taught him at school how to work with that. And we rarely see them now. So he really understands how to self-soothe now. And I think for a lot of kids, learning to self-soothe is really important. You don't go smacking them like we were told to do. Just give them a smack. They'll stop doing that. If you give them a good smack, that will quieten them down and they won't do it anymore. I'm like, no, that's not the way to work. Yeah, medication. I mean, that's what I said. If medication needs to be used, oh, you've had Valium for flying. Okay, so I learned to come to terms with my fear of flying. See, book reader. I read up on everything. And I do. I eat a lot of vitamins. I'm old. Isn't that what you do when you get old? A handful of vitamins every day. I have really poor retention. I've got a few percent of African blood, and I think that stops me retaining vitamin D. So I don't retain vitamin D very well at all. And I've got really, really low, like dangerously low a few times. So I take vitamin D, I take vitamin B, I take vitamin C, I take calcium, fish oil, lysine, handful of medication every day. That's about all the medication I take. Yeah, absolutely. I'm not old, no, but I just thought when somebody said that the other day, something about, somebody's getting old when they have handfuls of vitamins, and I thought that was so funny. Yeah, that's it. Lauren, I read a really, really good book by someone who'd written, okay, there was a person in England that did a lot of training, coaching for people who are scared of flying, and they wrote a book on the fear of flying. And I don't get scared at all anymore. But it was really good. Once I have an understanding, I'm great. So I wonder if a lot of people with anxiety, the reason they have anxiety is because they don't understand a lot of this stuff. Once you've got a good understanding, it seems to be easier to sort of cope with things, which is really good. Oh, did you have a stroke, Caitlin? Oh, that's no good. There you go. So thyroid medication is not the right. Yeah, so that makes a difference too. Yeah, it's really interesting, isn't it? Oh, your son was on anti-acne meds and it had a really bad effect on his mental health. Wow. Yeah, we don't always find out. That's what I said. If the doctor gives something to me now, I ask why they're giving it to me, what it will achieve, what will happen if I don't take it, and what sort of side effects. And I'll still come home and Google it before I take anything. I didn't really want to put it into my body if it's not going to do me. If taking it is more important than not taking it. So if he says to me, well, if you don't take it, then you're going to have this, then that's a good enough reason for me to take it. I will. Oh, that's no good at all, Caitlin. That's really tough. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, side effects are something that, not, and when you look up side effects, very often This is why it's such a problem, because you look it up and it's like 1 in 100,000 people have that side effect, but you may be that 1 in 100,000 people. That's the risk you take. But is the risk of not taking it more harmful than taking it? And that's where the balance lies. That's good. Ask your questions. I don't care how many questions I have to ask. Yeah, I agree with you, Moonstone. I think you do need to have control of your own body, and what goes in and what goes out. But you know what? There's some people who imbibe a lot of alcohol, but be the first ones to tell you that you shouldn't eat meat. Really, really. Um, Graves' disease. Yeah, isn't that interesting? I don't know much about Graves' disease. Bipolar meds for depression and anxiety. Yeah. I've known people who do really well on antidepressants and anti-anxiety medications. So I think that's the thing. It's everybody's different. And I do think that you need to know up front. And, at the end of the day, if you have to go to the doctor like Hayley and your kids have to take something, ask all those questions. And if you don't feel the doctor gives you the right answers, then go and Google it. Go and Google it. Oh, wow. Oh, Caitlin, this is really heavy conversation here. You lost your memory. Wow. That's a blast. That's really awful. Yeah, that's not nice at all. But you're good now, aren't you, Caitlin? And Hayley, your son's good now. Yeah, don't be afraid to ask questions. I think sometimes we go to the doctors and the doctor's so busy and so, packed up to the rafters, and they're so keen to get you out of the office, in your 10 to 15 minutes or whatever it is they allow. I just think that if they can't answer your questions, just, go home and Google the medication on the site where the manufacturer has the things that will happen with that particular drug. But anyway, I better get off. Yeah, someone said it's been an hour and 20. This is record time for me, this one. So I want to say to everyone, I hope you're all well. It's nice to talk about this stuff, though, isn't it? And get reassurance for what you're doing. Because I think a lot of us feel really, really annoying asking questions all the time. Gigi, we're just about to finish up. How are you going? You still working hard? It's lovely to see you on board, Jane. It's really nice to see you here. I'm now taking it easy. I think I'll probably go and have some lunch and do some supernaturals, and have a bit of a chill out. I've been really busy all morning, and I will see you all tomorrow. Back to work. Have a great evening. Enjoy your day. Thank you so much for joining me. Mwah, much love.